Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat and NBA content. My name is Amir. So for today's episode, want to break down the rumors about DeMar DeRozan. A lot of other channels are making videos on DeMar DeRozan to the Miami Heat. So there has been speculation that the Sacramento Kings could potentially be open to trading him this offseason, and the Miami Heat can once again be a landing spot for DeMar DeRozan. So for this episode, we'll dive into what I think DeMar DeRozan can bring to the table for this Miami Heat team, talk a little bit about his legacy, and talk about why this could be a good idea or why this could be a bad idea. So let's get into it. So the Sacramento Kings, they signed DeMar DeRozan last year to a 3-year deal, and the Kings in general had a disappointing season that included firing their coach and trading away their former all-star point guard, De'Aaron Fox, to the San Antonio Spurs. And this team has been struggling. It's been a play-in team at best, and they're wasting the years of one of their best players, Sabonis. And this team is not going to be good enough to compete in the West. So it doesn't make sense necessarily to have him on the books. He's not making a ton of money, but still, if you're the Sacramento Kings, you either want to go all in right now and try to build around Sabonis while he's still in his prime, or you want to gut this roster and rebuild and start all over again, which the Sacramento Kings are used to doing. So anyway, teams have been identified, and the Miami Heat has been selected as a logical spot for DeMar DeRozan. The Miami Heat have had interest in him in the past. He's apparently had interest in the Miami Heat. We tried to acquire him last season from the Bulls before the trade deadline, but the money didn't work. The Miami Heat were a first apron team, so we were going to get even further penalized by adding his contract. So it didn't make sense. So we weren't able to get him. But anyway, the Miami Heat are looking to make some upgrades this offseason after a terrible season last year, dealing with a Jimmy Butler trade drama and getting swept in the first round by the Cleveland Cavs and losing games by 55 points, 37 points at home was just egregious. So this Miami Heat team needs to make changes. Pat Riley said that he would make changes during his press conference at the end of the season. The Miami Heat need to help Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo strengthen the roster to remain competitive in the East. And the biggest area right now, or one of the biggest deficiencies for this Miami Heat team after losing Jimmy Butler, was having a number one option and a scorer, someone that could help alleviate the scoring droughts that this Miami Heat team consistently went on when Tyler Herro would go on the bench. Tyler Herro had his best season as an all-star, almost 24 points per game. Bam, his averages were slightly down, didn't have the best season. Wasn't a bad season, but not the best season either. He averaged like 18 points. And outside of that, there was not much help. So according to Brett Siegel, he said that DeRozan is once again viewed by other teams as a potential trade target. And Pat Riley and the Miami Heat would be interested if he does become available. So what could DeMar DeRozan bring to the Heat? Is he the right fit for this Miami Heat team at this age? Well, he does have a skill set, again, that the Miami Heat need. But at 35 years old, DeMar DeRozan is obviously not in his prime anymore, but he could still flat out score. Last season, he averaged 22.2 points per game on 47.7% shooting. And then he shot 51.3% on two-pointers. He was able to also dish out 4.4 assists per game, 3.2 rebounds, almost a steal. So super solid. The years before, though, with the Chicago Bulls, he's still a guy who can score. He's very capable. 24 points the year before, 24.5, 27.9 just 3 seasons ago with the Chicago Bulls. So he is still capable. He still can be an all-star level player, I think, for at least one more season for this Miami Heat team. But do the Miami Heat really need someone to come in that's not going to be the number one guy? So what this means for the Miami Heat is they're going to have another guy who could score, but are we going to really run the offense through DeMar DeRozan at age 35? Someone who is new to this team. We're not going to just hand over the keys immediately after Tyler Herro. Bam and Adebayo have been here for many years, have developed, have grown, have earned the right to be top players and to run this offense. Well, not Bam, obviously, but Tyler. But we also need someone else that can advance this offense, because even with these guys, even with Jimmy Butler, this Miami Heat team's offensive rating and points per game were pretty terrible. So I don't see DeMar as a number one. Like Tyler Herro, I still think is better than DeMar DeRozan at this point in time. Tyler is going to be 25. I think he is 25. So he's 25 years old, 10 years younger, and had a better season than DeMar. Still has some upside. DeMar DeRozan seems like a finished product, obviously, at this point. He's seems to be declining slightly. His minutes went down last season with the Sacramento Kings, so his role changed when he went to the Kings, but he's still a solid player. But again, once you get to the mid 30s, a lot of guys can change overnight. So it wouldn't be shocking to see him even shoot less, play less minutes. Um, we'll see, but I still think he's a consistent enough scorer where the Miami Heat could sign him or trade for him, and it could be impactful, but it doesn't make this Miami Heat team a contender. He has been a 3-level scorer for years, not the best 3-point shooter, but he is capable. 33% last season, not great, but still not horrible. So if the Heat were to land him, again, he could step into the role next to Tyler and Bam, Herro's spacing, and Bam Adebayo's defense, and also his spacing as Bam started shooting a lot more threes this season, would provide a nice balance for DeMar DeRozan's presence, who is mostly a mid-range sniper and has a more old-school traditional offense, similar to Jimmy Butler. But another reason why the Miami Heat should even consider DeMar at this age is because of his availability and his durability. Over the last 4 seasons alone, he's played 77, 79, 74, and 76. Tyler Herro played 70 games, over 70 games for the first time in his career in 6 seasons, I believe. Now that he's been with the Miami Heat, he's never done it before. DeMar at age 31 through 35 has been able to do it 4 years in a row. So he is a reliable player in that sense. Miami's had injury issues in the past, so having a player who can consistently stay on the floor, log minutes, and score in the clutch for the Miami Heat when Tyler Herro is getting double teamed and when Bam Adebayo is not being aggressive enough or even scoring in general, he could fill a gap and potentially be a workhorse on the offensive end next to Tyler Herro. Plus, DeMar's contract isn't that crazy. Like I mentioned, 3 years, 25 million. Terry Rozier is making 25 million next season. So adding DeMar for that same cost would be great. But the issue with him is, though, he would have another season. Terry Rozier is an expiring contract. DeMar has, I believe, 2 more seasons. I'm not sure. He might have actually 3. Not sure if he signed that extension on top of his final year with that Bulls contract, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. So DeMar DeRozan, again, might be an ideal fit for the Miami Heat, but not as a number one option, again. And I think this Miami Heat team absolutely needs someone who is head and shoulders above Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo, especially offensively, to help the Miami Heat. Another issue with DeMar, his playoff track record has not been great. It's been far from stellar. He's a multi-time All-Star, which is great. One of the best mid-range shooters in the game. But when it comes to the postseason, he's struggled. And whether it's been on the Raptors, the Spurs, the Bulls, he has yet to lead a team in the playoffs, essentially. And for the Heat, that's something they need. They need a player that can help elevate them, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. Again, Tyler Herro would most likely remain the Heat's number one option, especially offensively. His scoring is undeniable, like I've said, but I don't think he's good enough alone to contend with the top dogs in the East. We saw what happened this past postseason with no Jimmy Butler. Tyler Herro was getting blitzed, double teamed, running it. They're running him off the 3-point line, and he scored 4 points in the closeout game as the Miami Heat lost 55 points. Like your number one option can never score 4 points in a closeout game. That's just not good enough. But anyway, DeRozan will provide the scoring, but not the playoff pedigree as a primary guy. Another concern could be his defense at this age. He's not a bad defender, not known as a lockdown defender either, but he could hold his own. But the Miami Heat are a top 10 defensive team. If you're going to play with Tyler Herro, we're going to need someone to essentially mask Tyler Herro's bad defense, especially in the playoffs. DeMar's not good enough. I think he doesn't impact the ball on that side. And that could be another issue with the Miami Heat making a playoff run next season, is having guys that could get hunted. I mean, DeMar is probably not going to get like hunted like Tyler did. He's bigger, stronger, more athletic, but he's 35. Like he's going to be slower against those elite guards. You have Jalen Brunson in the East. You have Halliburton, and you have Tyrese Maxey when the Sixers get back into the mix, and you have a bunch of other younger guys that could be an issue for DeMar on the defensive end. So here's my final take on whether or not the Miami Heat should sign DeMar DeRozan. I'm not saying a trade for him would be the worst move, but I don't think it should be the Miami Heat's first option or even second option. If the Miami Heat do strike out on guys like Giannis and Durant, which they probably will, then he could be a consolidation prize or a consolation prize, excuse me, because he is a reliable scorer. His contract is not crazy. It's not like he's making 40, 50, 60 million a year. 25 per year is not terrible, but it's still not ideal. He could help balance this Miami Heat's offense, but I don't think it's going to move the needle. They're not going to contend. I want a guy who can help this team contend. You add Kevin Durant to this team, then he is a true legit number one option still. And you add a couple other role players in the mix. If you can add a Drew Holiday type player or someone of that caliber, someone maybe younger, like a 3-and-D wing player, then this like a Finney Smith, who's always been linked to the Miami Heat. Add players like that who could shoot threes, play defense, more athletic guys in this rotation with the KD. This Miami Heat team could contend in the East, especially when you never know what injuries are going to pop up. Every playoffs, there's an injury. There's a Giannis always getting hurt. There's an Embiid always getting hurt. We saw what happened to Jason Tatum, unfortunately. Same with Damian Lillard. You see guys getting banged up, hurt all the time. It always happens. Halliburton last season, Donovan Mitchell last season, Jimmy, Terry Rozier, everybody gets hurt. Like Luka, who played through it, but he was banged up. So we'll see. If the Heat are serious about contending for a title, they need to be aiming for a player that's a better player than DeMar DeRozan. But again, in my opinion, DeMar as a backup plan is not horrible. I think it's a last resort, if you will. Then I'm okay with that. Otherwise, I want someone younger and better. And if we're getting an aging superstar or star, I want an aging superstar, not an aging all star. Because DeMar is an aging all star, not a superstar. KD is an aging superstar. That is a big difference, which will help this Miami Heat team. Anyway, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.